Okay, everybody, we're going to get going. Thank you, esteemed webinar attendees, for joining us on a beautiful day coming to you live from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. It's Wednesday, January 14th at 11:02 a.m. PST. That's pretty good. You know, I didn't really expect us to start right on time. I would like to say that we're fashionably late to our own webinar, and really that's what you want. Anytime the host of a party shows up on time, you know something's wrong. Again, thank you for joining us. We're very excited. Welcome. Welcome to the webinar on how we can use RingPools to your advantage. And thank God we have Jon Belliveau joining us today, because otherwise this would be one short webinar. So I'm going to hand it over to Jon. If you have any questions, and I'm sure you will, as this is a fascinating topic, please submit them, and we will get to the questions at the end of the webinar. Jon estimates that'll be about 25 minutes, and we'll get going from there. All right, thanks very much. I'm going to hand it over to Jon. Jon, thanks very much for being with us today.
No problem. Thanks, Henry. Appreciate it. Yeah, so, RingPool tracking is something that has been available for a long time through Invoca, and it's a great tool for anybody, needing that additional tracking with their pay-per-call campaigns. But it is a little bit more complicated than traditional, affiliate third-party tracking. And because of that, some people have either ignored it or maybe you haven't even heard about it yet. So I wanted to do a quick webinar just to show basic setup for these RingPools, how we typically implement them, and how you can view the stats in your reporting and set up a postback URL and things like that. So a brief overview on RingPools is it allows you to have a pool of phone numbers that you can call for every impression that hits your landing page, and it'll dynamically insert a new number every time that you have a unique click to that landing page. Because it's a unique number per click, they can associate the call to that particular web session and pull in a tracking sub-ID or something along those lines that you've passed through. It allows them to essentially associate it to the session. So each unique number is available per impression so that they can associate the call to the sub-ID that you want to pull into the Invoca platform. So very valuable, and a lot of people who have past experience in display marketing are probably familiar with sub-ID tracking, same with search marketing, and this allows you to do it similar to a traditional way. So the first thing that I want to walk through is just setting up a RingPool. It's something that you need to get enabled in your account often, or often it'll be pre-enabled, but it's a feature offered by Invoca which does the tracking for RingPartner. So I've got a dummy account here that I created, and basically I'm just trying to figure out where it would be. So under account and features, that's where you go and just see if you're approved for RingPools and apply if needed. So I'm going to use structured settlements, the 123 lump sum campaign in this example, just because it's one that I already approved in here for a previous test. And when you log into the campaign to create a RingPool, what you're going to want to do is go to the advanced links section. Sorry, so it's right here, and in advanced links you will get the option to create a RingPool. So I have one already set up in here previously, but I'll start from scratch so you can walk through the process. So first you would want to click Add New RingPool. It gives you a few different options. We're going to go with My Web Page or Application. So this is going to be on your own landing page that you're going to be setting up the RingPool for. And then it gives you some different options. So it does have some integration for some of the search engines, particularly Google and Bing. But for the most part, we go with custom. It just gives you more flexibility with your own landing pages. And then this is where you're going to want to add the parameter that you're going to use to track. So if you're passing through a variable from your traffic source and it's called keyword, typically would be displayed in the URL as keyword equals, you would put keyword here. Often it's sub ID, it can be click ID, but yeah, this is where you would enter that tracking variable, and you can add multiple. So I'm just going to use test as a tracking variable. So my URL would look like ringpartner.com question mark, and then test equals, and that's where that tracking variable that I've passed through is going to be. Here I'm going to set up the basic information for my ring pool. So the pool name, that's just what you want to call it. It'll be displayed in your Invoca reporting as well. So I'm just going to call it Jon Test 2. Tracking numbers reserved for at least. So this is how long that you want to reserve a tracking number for once it's been displayed. If you think it's going to take people a long time to make the call from your page, you can set it for longer. We typically set it for 5 minutes to get very accurate tracking. For the most part, people are making the call pretty quickly. And then you want to give an estimate on how many clicks or impressions that this is going to be getting per day, just to help figure out how many numbers should be available in this pool. So let's go with 20. Sorry, one moment here. 20,000. So it's going to give me a pool of 83 numbers that I have available to call on as unique impressions hit the page. You can also set this up for toll-free or in some areas local numbers. So once we've moved on from there, we end up with our API URL for the ring pool. So this is basically a link that we need to access to pull in these numbers. What I'm going to show you next is how to set it up with a PHP script that one of our developers wrote up that can be easily implemented and added to your landing page. So what you'd want to do is have this available to copy. You can copy the URL right away or come back later. Once you click done, it's going to be available as a listed ring pool in Invoca. Let's give it a moment while it finishes loading. Perfect. So now we have the ring pool available. You can still come here and get your API URL and get everything set up. So what you need to actually implement this on your landing page is some PHP code that our developer put together. We'll send the link out to get this, with the webinar after it's completed. But what it is, it's a simple script here with step-by-step instructions that you just quickly edit with your API URL, follow the steps, and add it to the top of your landing page's index file, which I'll show you in a moment.
Now, Jon, you've classified this as simple.
Well, implementing tracking is always going to be a little bit difficult.
Sure. Again, this is a good thing Jon is here. Okay. Okay. Keep going.
All right. So basically, what you're going to want to do is first step would be to take these files. You can download them from the link that we'll provide and follow the instructions. The first bit is going to be added to the top of your index file for your landing page. The second portion just needs to be hosted with the index file in the same hosting folder. It's just something that has a bunch of the information that's needed to make it work. So step one, copy and paste this code into the top of the web page and ensure the extension is PHP. So if your file is index.html, which it'll often be, if you just save it as index.php, this will work, and then you can just remove the index.html. You don't want to have them both in there. You just want to make sure that there's only one and it's saved as index.php. So the second step would be to download the files. The second file is called RingPartner Unified RingPools.php. That just needs to be uploaded and hosted in the same folder as your index file with your web hosting. Step three would be to edit your API URL, which would be down here. Show you quickly. So that would have been the URL that we copied from Invoca. You would add it right in here, and that will allow us to access the ring pool. And then wherever you want the phone number on your page to display, you would copy this next bit of code in step 4 and replace the text. So I'm going to pull up an index file and show you how that would look. So here I have an index file for a page that I'll display in a moment. So you have the RingPartner Unified RingPools PHP that would be uploaded, and then you have the index file of a page. So normally this is what it would look like, just a basic index file for a simple landing page. Here's where the number would be displayed, pretty easy to find. And we've pasted the script as previously mentioned at the top. Fairly straightforward. Here we have edited the API URL to be the API URL we got from Invoca for our ring pool. And then the final step is we're going to want to copy from step 4 this little snippet of code wherever we want the phone number to be displayed. So for example, right here, this is where the phone number would normally be. We replace it. Pretty straightforward. You would save this as index.php and upload it for your landing page. So here's a good example of a basic landing page. This is for a weight loss campaign, something that we whipped up for an example. Here's the phone number being displayed. So what's going to happen is the ring pool will have a default number that it can display. And since we set it up with the tracking variable of test, if we add a unique string of characters, so this is where your sub ID would be or your keyword or whatever you're passing through to the end of this URL, as it would be displayed after the click has come from your traffic source, the phone number on the page will swap to a unique number. So it just pulled a new number out of your ring pool. Because of this, if somebody was to now call that number, Invoca would pull in keyword. If you were to add my keyword, a second unique variable there, you should get another unique number. Perfect. If somebody was to call now, they would get my keyword in their reporting. So very useful to have. It can work for mobile, it can work for desktop, and once you've set it up once, it is a lot easier. It seems a bit complicated out of the gate, but it is fairly straightforward once you've done it once. So once somebody's made that call, they we'll pull in the information that you've passed through into the transaction details report, and I'll show you an example of what it's going to look like once it's been displayed in your or once the number has been called. So here's a test call I made earlier, just to show what it would look like. So when we created that ring pool, we set up our tracking variable as test1, and that was called pool param1. So that's the name. We called it test. If you had multiple, you could have multiple columns: pool param2 name, pool param3 name. And here's the value that would have been passed through. So I used test3 when I did that example, and it shows in the report as pool param1 value. Now, if you don't see this in your reporting, you can look over here on the far right of these headers, and there's like a little book icon. So you can click there and add and remove columns. So if you don't see these pool param columns within your transaction details report, you can come in here and add them. So that's great. You have your data that you need to properly optimize your campaign. You'll have it within your reporting. You can use a sub ID, a keyword, some sort of maybe click ID from your third-party tracking. Whatever you need to pass through, that's what we're going to get there. One thing I wanted to mention quickly as well is, a lot of our partners use things like Unbounce to create their landing pages. Unbounce can do something very similar, but they'll do it through JavaScript. So I'm just going to quickly walk through a basic setup of an Unbounce landing page with a ring pool. It's a similar setup where we have a link. Again, we'll send it out after the webinar to everybody who's attending. But it's just a JavaScript variation. So here I have a test Unbounce account with a test landing page. It would probably look very similar in another program you're using to set up your landing pages. So I'm going to come in here and edit the page. You'll get a quick preview of what my amazing example landing page looks like. So perfect, here we go. So here's my landing page. What I'm going to want to do is insert a JavaScript, which in Unbounce, this is where you would add it. I've already pre-inserted one, just named it RingPool. You would go to Add New JavaScript, and that's where you would input it and name your code. So here we called it RingPool. Same setup. You have basic instructions as far as copying the JavaScript into your platform for designing your landing page. You're going to need to add a specific token for your API URL, which I'll show you what it looks like momentarily. So it's going to tell it what to grab from your URL. And then yeah, there's a few other basic steps, but again, very straightforward, similar to the first one. So here's where you would paste in your API URL. The only difference is you're going to want to add the token at the end. So the URL would normally only provide this information that I'm showing here, and what you want to add at the end is squiggly bracket, whatever your your variable in your URL is called. We called it test, so you would add test here, squiggly bracket. That just tells it where to look and what to grab. Then the other thing that you need to do is when setting up your phone number, you'll add. Let's close this quickly. For the phone number itself, you would use squiggly bracket number, squiggly bracket again. This this tells the script where to input the number that you're calling. So you would do that. You would save. You would publish the page, and then get a very similar setup to the original one that we looked at. So this was set up with test as well. It's got a default number being displayed. Unique string at the end is going to help trigger a unique number. Perfect. So that again is going to allow Invoca to pull in this unique string, add it to your reporting. The final step is a lot of people are going to want to post back that information to their third-party tracking or maybe to their traffic source to help optimize. So where we can add that in Invoca is with Invoca, they refer to postbacks and pixels as webhooks. It's a term that they use to describe it. So when you come in here, I'm just going to see, they made an update recently. So up on the settings, the little gear here, you can go there and set up webhooks. So in here, you can add a webhook. You can set it up if you want it to be, pre-transfer, post-call. For what we do, this is going to be post-call. And then if you're familiar with setting up, tracking pixels and postbacks, it's very straightforward. You're going to want to name it. You'll select a campaign that you want it to be for, or it can be for all campaigns. You can set it to fire for every transaction, for all calls, for just paid calls, anything that you want to pull in. Then you're going to add your webhook URL, and once you have that in there, you can add the different parameters. What do you want to send back? Do you want to send back pool param 1 value? Do you also want to send back pool param 1 name? Maybe the campaign ID, different information from our reporting that you need. So it's as I said, it can be a little bit complicated at first, but the long and short of setting up your RingPools is you go through Invoca and you set up your RingPool, for what you want to track. You can use the PHP script to insert your RingPool API URL, upload the files, add it to your landing page index file, and then we can start pulling in the reporting into our system. It's one of those things that, as I mentioned, once you've done it once, it gets a lot easier once you've kind of done it hands-on. I recommend anybody listening, if you do want to just give it a shot as a test, please do. I can send you some example index files, and any one of your account reps here at RingPartner can help you with the initial setup, just so you can get a feel for it. But this tool, it allows you to track extremely valuable information that a lot of people are not doing with pay-per-call because maybe they feel like it's a little bit too difficult, or they're not familiar with this option as a good tracking option. So if you have any questions after this, because that pretty much sums it up, please reach out and let us know. If you want help setting up your first ring pool, we'd love to do it for you. If you want some examples outside of just the code that we'll email out, if you want an example landing page or anything like that, we can definitely send that along.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thanks very much, John. So we got a couple questions here. The first one is, John, what types of verticals are RingPools working for in PC search, not mobile search?
So any vertical, really. We're seeing more and more success with people using desktop search, getting people to a landing page, and obviously that's where it's going to be more important for search traffic. So any vertical that you're running, if you're sending them to a landing page, if you're sending them to a website, it's not just mobile, it's not just a click-to-call extension, RingPools should be used. I mean, you want to be able to track the keyword that got them to the landing page that initiated the call. So anything you're running that's not from that click-to-call extension, I'd highly recommend using RingPools for.
Very cool. John, a question from me. In terms of experience of a publisher or a partner of ours, should one get their feet wet first before testing RingPools? Is RingPools more of an advanced tool, or should they just go right and give it a try right away?
RingPools is definitely a little more advanced. I mean, this is more for people who have some familiarity with third-party tracking, more traditional affiliate tracking that they've done previously. But if you are new but keen and really want to get this set up, that's what we're here for. We can help you do it the first couple times. But you do need your own landing page. You need to have some ability to at least edit your index file, things like that. So that's kind of a big part of it. But as long as you can do that, then we recommend everybody give it a shot. And as I said, it's extremely helpful for gathering that data that most of us need to optimize these campaigns and get them to the next level.
Very cool. One more question for you, John, at least. Does this replace Google Call Forward option, or use it along with it for mobile PPC search?
Definitely use it along with it. So if you're sending traffic through your click-to-call extension, using the Google Call Forwarding and your Dimensions tab is the best route, because RingPools won't work with the call extension. But if you are actually sending some of your traffic to a landing page or a website, that's where I would implement RingPools. So you can use Google Call Forwarding for all of your call extension traffic, and then use RingPools for all of your landing page traffic.
Very cool. Okay, I think that pretty much does it. Anybody, just a reminder, if you have any other questions. We got one more here. John, was there anything else you wanted to say about RingPools before we sign off? We'll just give people a little bit more of a chance to ask some questions.
No, I mean, I think I touched on it for the most part, just being a key in optimizing your campaign, especially with display traffic and desktop search. Affiliates and publishers, distribution partners, they all come from a world where data is extremely important. I mean, it can be the littlest thing that you remove from your campaign or add to it or target a little bit more aggressively that can make or break your campaign. So any and all data that you can gather, I think you should be, and RingPools allows us to do that.
All right. John, we got a couple more. Thanks, guys. These are great. Keep the questions coming. Apart from AdWords and Bing, which traffic source seems to be working good for pay-per-call?
Yeah, so search has always been a big part of what works in pay-per-call, but we've seen the market share definitely change a lot in the last while. Facebook PPC traffic has been great, so news feed ads, things like that. You're going to use a different approach. You're going to want a little bit more heavily contented landing pages, kind of more of an advertorial approach. PPV traffic, so pop-ups and pop-unders, that's worked really well. You're targeting keywords and URLs to have these ads displayed, so you get that targetability. And there's going to be a lot of campaigns that are closely related to what you can target. So it's extremely valuable. The conversion rates are typically quite high as well. When people are engaged enough to make a call, they're usually going to convert. So when you might see 20 or 30 or 40% conversion rate on search, often you can see 80 to 100% on PPV. Another great option, or another great reason for PPV is with a lot of these more niche verticals, the competition is nearly non-existent.
Fantastic. Jon, RingPools, is it a free feature on Invoca, or does it have an extra fee?
No extra fee. No, it's a free feature that Invoca offers, which is great. I mean, they're working hard to make using their platform as helpful to all partners as possible. So if you don't see it enabled in your account, you'll see an option to request it once you visit that features. I see another question here actually from one of our partners, and he's, one second here. So yeah, asking about maybe a multi-step quiz landing page where they're going through multiple pages before being displayed the number. That is totally fine. You just have to make sure that that variable is being kept within the URL string. So if you say you're running a PPV campaign for a quiz and your target gets passed through, that has to stay part of the URL so it's available to grab once they get to the page with the phone number.
That's encouraging. Very cool. Jon, do you think we will see more pay-per-call offers outside of the United States and Canada this year? This is one of our most requested questions. What do you think?
I think so, and I hope so. One of the complications there is there are different laws and regulations in different countries. We know that it will work well when it does happen, but the barrier to entry is a little bit different. So it's something that we want to focus on and do more with, and we've tested a little bit here and there. But it's kind of a master the art where you are and then move on. So RingPartner has been growing so much, and the industry has been growing so much, even just in the last year alone. I just can't even imagine where we're going to be a year from now, and it might be international, it might not yet, but we'll definitely have to see.
Coming from a traditional CPA space, even going international with that wasn't something that occurred right away for a lot of networks. It took them some time, like you said, to sort of perfect the craft stateside before you moved over. Laws are different. Phone numbers and the way phones work over there, slightly different. It's something that we're very excited about. Our business development team is working hard to ensure that hopefully this year we'll have some international flavor for you guys. Great question. Jon, let's see here. Can we set up a webinar for marketing PPC successfully in Facebook?
That's something that's been asked actually a couple times recently, so we might have to. Problem being, I don't personally run traffic, so I might need to get a guest for that webinar, but it's something that I'd love to do. I also might, I do have some partners who are often willing to share some valuable information, obviously not their secret sauce, but some valuable information to help grow the industry. So if we don't do a webinar on it, we might end up doing a case study or something, something along those lines. And I think, that would be very beneficial with it being a great emerging traffic type for pay-per-call.
Very cool. Jon, we got another question here. I'm going to try and condense it a little bit, but it's a really good idea. Do we see better results from partners without call extensions, i.e. we try and get people to call right away as soon as they click the ad so they don't see the landing page?
That's been the school of thought for a very long time.
Okay.
Avoid landing page clicks at all costs. Get them onto your call extension. It's the way that a lot of people still do it and the way that it's been done for a long time. And it works well. I mean, you think you just want that click, you want that call right now.
Right.
But a user isn't as engaged off of 3 lines in your search ad than they are after reading some great information from the landing page, and that's something that we've been noticing. The school of thought is changing, and it might take a little bit of testing. And I've had people saying that they're getting better ROI off of their landing page, still providing both options, but better ROI off their landing page than some of the click-to-call that they're doing. My recommendation is, though, if you are going to send traffic to your landing page, put in the effort, split test a couple different pages, some different content. Don't use a very generic landing page and expect it to work. Just like anything else, if you're going to get traffic there, put in the extra work.
Sounds good. Makes a lot of sense. That's a great question. Thanks very much, guys. Looks like we're all done here. Please be sure to check out the recorded webinar on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/RingPartner, RingPartner. P-A-R-T-N-E-R. Likewise, our Twitter handle is @dollars. Nope, that's mine. Mine is @dollars. Sorry, a little self-promotion here. Our Twitter handle is @RingPartner. And if you have any additional questions, please email us. The best way to get in contact with us is contact, C-O-N-T-A-C-T, @ringpartner.com. Most of you likely already have myself and Jon's contact information. Please reach out. We're happy to hear from you. We're incredibly excited about the opportunities in 2015. Thank you all very much for joining the webinar.
And then one quick thing as well. You can follow me on Twitter. It's just @JonBonMoby. And I also have a new blog that I've been posting some really good information on, and we'll continue to do that. And that's just jonbon.moby. So come check it out. Please leave some